Smartly Uneducated is hands down the greatest podcast in the world. But be warned, this one is not for the faint of heart. With topics ranging from true crime to conspiracy theories, this podcast doesn't shy away from violence or controversial content. Their slogan,
"Oh, we're going to Pluto to see alien titties,"
or
and suck on it till you get some raw milk,
isn't just a catchy tagline. It's the truth. These hosts have a world of knowledge that expands across the cosmos. If you are looking for a podcast that will make you laugh, make you think, and make you reevaluate your life choices, tune into Smartly Uneducated and join the uneducated madness.
Welcome to Smartly Uneducated. I am your lovely host, Ben, and I am joined with your lovely host,
Big Dick Daddy Evan. Dude, what's up?
Big Dick Stepdaddy Evan. You got that Big Dick Stepdaddy Evan vibes. You got that stepdad. Look at him. He even took off his coat to show how disappointed he was. Oh, and he blew a kiss. Oh, how lovely.
Well, yeah. It's a little Kiss Thursday for y'all.
Kiss there. Anyways, so today's episode, before we dive into the topic, which we are actually going to talk about depression. That is what we are going to talk about, and we are also going to talk about some of the layers of it and ways to deal with it and remediate it, and from personal firsthand experience to just the the truth behind it, because I feel like a lot of things are getting misconstrued when it comes to depression. And really, I feel like really needs to get nipped in the butt. So with that being said, before we just jump right in, Evan, do you have any new things you'd like to share in your life?
Are you just trying to pass the baton so you can quickly Google what is depression?
What is the moon?
Yeah, nothing really exciting going on. I got these badass mushroom jerky things here I'm eating on. Oops, I just missed my mouth.
What
That's
are the
embarrassing.
what are the benefits? What are the benefits of that mushroom jerky?
They're delicious and make me happy.
Okay, so it's not like the other mushrooms, not psychedelics, but like ones
Oh
that are
God,
good
I hope
for
not. I've been
clarity.
eating handfuls of these things. I really hope not.
I picked it up from the dispensary. I thought it was a little weird that they sold snacks in there.
It's
I swear.
yeah, this is not from the dispensary. This is from a mushroom farmer here in Arkansas that I got the pleasure of meeting the other day, and
Nice.
yeah, they're just blue oyster mushrooms, smoky version from the company called Ozark Mountain Nibbly Organic Mushrooms. They're fucking delicious.
Sounds delicious. I like me some shroomies, baby. Love me
Yes,
some
me too, brother.
shrooms.
Got myself a nice
Love 'em.
little raspberry leaf tea here. The most manly dude right now.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Very nice, sir. Very nice. So, yeah, so that's the little updates from everyone. I'm still on you watching you eat mushrooms. It's pretty nice. Um,
I mean, what do y'all want to know about me? I recently rode a bicycle down a hill and almost fell and hurt myself. That was fun. My dog is adorable. Turned 1 year old the other month in April. Yeah, I just find myself researching and studying for this shit all the time, and that's my life.
my face.
Disappointed, huh?
No, I'm just fucking with you. I just wanted you to see that's my stepdad face.
My brother, I'm 33 years old. I'm boring.
You're not that boring. I'm just kidding. You're pretty fucking boring. It's cool. But I'm boring too, and that's why we get along. I say I'm boring until I'm not. Depends on what you're into. Hey yo. There. That's the stepdad, psycho stepdad face we've been looking for. Anyways, moving on. So with all that being said, I guess let's just jump right in. I know it was really random. So this, like, choosing to talk about this was a very random choice. It was not pre-planned, like not like fully pre-planned. It was more of like, yo, I want to talk about this. I think it's relevant to a lot of people, and on top of that, I know that everyone deals with something like that, especially with the narrative out there, right? I'm going to talk about that first, if you're cool with it.
Yeah,
um,
please.
Nowadays in 2024, everyone's depressed. Apparently, um, that's the thing that they push. What's so funny?
In 2024, everybody's depressed. Welcome to 2024, where depression ruins the world, and we're left with nothing but shitty water, bad food, and massive depression.
It's true. That's the narrative, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
I have lots of friends. I have people very close to me. I'm not gonna name names because that would not be appropriate. But I have people very, very close to me, and I have like very close friends, and I have other just not super close friends, but they're still my friend, right? And they kind of cue me in, and I get to witness a little bit and see some things, and it's just like everyone's getting told that they're depressed, right? Just because they have a sad thought and maybe they're sad for a couple weeks. All of a sudden, ultimately, they're clinically depressed, and there's this whole narrative of like, hey, you're depressed, so let's put you on a pill. That'll solve it, because there's a quick fix pill for everything nowadays. And one thing I've learned throughout my life, everything from personal physical health to mental health and just life in general, is that there is no quick fix for things. There's no such thing as
No.
a one pill fix all. And that's like a narrative that has become so prominent and so strong and strangleholding everything. Pretty much saying that like, oh, you're depressed, you're sad. Well, then you must be really depressed, and you need to take this one little pill to make everything better. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not against certain medications. I'm not. Like in fact, when it comes to antidepressants in general, I I believe that some people probably should be on them. I've met people who should be, but that was because they fit the bill to a T. They had issues going on actually inside their brain, not with their thoughts. I'm talking about like actually with their brain and how it operated and functioned. It was missing and lacking things, um, that they weren't going to be able to fix themselves through a natural recourse. Um, and they were born that way. It happens, or they went through something that happened in their life, and they went through it, and it was like super severe, like extremely impactful at a young age when their brain was still forming, which then caused it not to form like a normal brain, and led them into the path they are now, where they deal with like severe depression and a whole litany of other things. And I
Mhm.
understand why people would be on medication at that point, because I've researched the medication. I know what it does to your brain. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. I get it. But unfortunately, like across the line, there are like almost every, I would honestly at this point, it's almost literally every person I talk to who, like, when the information gets divulged that they are depressed and they've been dealing with depression and fighting it and all these things, you find out that um, they're taking a bunch of different like medications for it and things like that, but yet they didn't do anything else in their life to change their mental state. None.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's the normal. And that really bothers me, because there are a couple fundamental things that someone can do, um, that would naturally change the course of your brain over the course of literally 30 days. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a harder route to go, because that requires making life changes, starting new habits, dropping habits you've done for 20 years or maybe your entire fucking life. So like it becomes a very challenging task, right? So I get why people go for the pill, because they look for that easy access, right? They're jumping into it thinking like, oh yeah, it's one pill fix all. I don't really have to do much effort. I just show up and pick up my prescription and make sure to take it. You know what I mean? Like, I get why people naturally go that route. Um, but with that being said, I do believe that a lot of people who claim that they are depressed are not actually depressed. I think they're misguided and they're misinformed, mainly because they don't even understand how the human brain works or your own emotions. You know, because I've seen people in the day to day that will spout off information and shit they've heard as if it's something that they've studied for 20 years, and it's like you just repeated a TikTok to me, an ill-informed TikTok, I might add. Like what? Like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hear that it happens every day. I hear it. I'm hearing it more and more to the point where just this past week alone, I heard it probably about 3 times in one day. No joke. And it's really disturbing. It concerns the shit out of me because if you're like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel
Yep.
sadness. That's a good thing. You want to be able to feel
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Because like you know, people are taking the idea of the fact that you feel sad. Well, if you feel sad, that can lead a few different ways, right? You could feel one of the byproducts of feeling sad is maybe feeling empty inside or hollow or um just like like just the generic term of like, oh, I'm so depressed. It's just because you're feeling sad. But do you ask yourself why you're sad? You actually like confront yourself, your emotional layers internally. Do you actually confront yourself? And a lot of these people, most of these people don't. Um, they go, well, I think it's this, or I think it's this, and they stay at a surface value a lot of the time. And it's like, no, 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 that's not what I'm talking about. Like, go dig deeper. Like, you say you're sad because of this, or sad right now, and this is going on, this is going on. I was like, well, let's move past that. There's something behind it that you're not willing to either acknowledge or you just haven't thought would be connected because you didn't have someone to help you walk through those steps, those layers, like how to peel them back. So that's why I always get really frustrated when I hear people saying, like, oh, yeah, I see a therapist. And then you find out they're just seeing a fucking life counselor. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? That's not, you're seeing a life counselor. You should be seeing a fucking psychologist, like a real psychologist, not some stupid fucking life counselor. Sorry, but life counselors are fucking stupid and they're useless. Like fucking retarded, like full retard type level stupid. So it's like, no, you should be seeing an actual, like a real psychologist. And on top of that, if you're going to see a real fucking psychologist, you do not be seeing a psychologist that's going to con you. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's true because the psychologists are playing this game right now where they're trying to appease different demographics, right? Because they want to be able to market themselves and actually have a clientele with all these different factions and groups that are all banding up together, everything from extreme left to far right, and all the ones that are mixed in between that get produced from these groups. They all do the same fucking thing, right? So basically, some of these supposed psychologists, and I've seen on their websites, I've went and looked them up. They'll literally put in the right on the front of the page, like, we're LGBTQ plus this and this. So they're not putting that there as a welcoming card. Just so anyone who supports LGBTQ or consider themselves a part of the movement or it applies to them or of any way, just so you know, they're not putting it there to say, hey, I'm your friend. They're putting it there as a marketing ploy to get you to come in. That's it.
Yep.
And when you come in, they're not actually going to, like, basically, they're putting it there to get you to come in. And instead of working through issues that you're having or something, whatever it is, they're always going to cater to something that you believe on an internal structured level, like that you decide to be a part of. They're never going to address those issues that are underlying in those either, because it was a marketing ploy. It's just to get you in. They're not there to act. It's to make money off of you. That's it. It's not to actually help you. The psychologists you should look for and see when you look them up are the ones that don't put any of that bullshit up. Like there's psychologists even put up shit about like MAGA, like put MAGA in their fucking introductory thing to get conservatives to come and see them.
Yep.
So it's just like they do it to both sides, and it's all marketing ploy. It's all bullshit. It's just to get money. It's not actually to help you. Nothing like that.
So
So
do you think seeing a therapist or psychologist is a very important thing or like a not so important thing?
I think it's important, but I believe it's a case by case basis, right? Because there are some people that are just normal, like they're sane, right? They don't have.
That's a bit of a cop out, right? That's a cop out answer because of course it's a case by case scenario. You're gonna have somebody who has a death in the family. They're gonna be sad. They're gonna be depressed, but they need to work through it. You'll have somebody who has seen war and now they're having PTSD, causing them to have depression. Um, these are all different side effects. Of course, it's case by case. Do you
Mhm.
still think the underlying factor of having a therapist or a psychologist to talk to is a beneficial thing?
Yeah, I do.
Good. Yeah,
I do.
you and me both. I think it is important.
No, I think everyone should be trying to pursue and have a a medical professional in their life helping them weave through the layers, right? Um, I think that's imperative to have. But my whole thing is you need to be cautious on which one you decide to use, of who you decide to go through, because some of them are not out there to really help you to their benefit, to your benefit 100%. They're really just there to play to your issues, right?
They're there to take
To
your
make
money. They're
money
there to
off
take
of
your
you.
money
Yeah, to make money off of you.
because your insurance pays for it, so that they want as many insurance payers to come in there as possible, right? So you really need to find somebody who is a non. Well, they're not a fin. They're more of a fence sitter. They don't choose a side. They don't play to a side. They are just there to guide people in their life, not necessarily play to one side or the other. So keep an eye out for that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And one of the things that just from personal experience, recently actually, within like the past, I would say like year and a half ish, somewhere in there, I had uh I went and met with this online, right? Virtual, this psychologist. I only had one session with that guy. And
Is
I've
this
been to
from
a
one of
psycho.
the is this from the big name.com one that
No.
everybody uses on?
Mm-mm. No, I just went and found a clinic, and then it had the option for doing it remote. And I just chose that because I didn't want to take off a whole goddamn day of work
Yeah.
or a half a day of work. I could just do it over my lunch period and not leave. I'll go sit in my truck. So, with that being said, firsthand experience, I kind of looked into the person. They seemed like they were in the middle ground, right? They didn't play into these groups at all. It was just all about mental health. So I did a session with them. It was an hour long. I never saw that person again. Mainly because after talking with the person, right? Like, it's the first session, you would think, well, no, you got to give it another chance. This isn't my first rodeo. I've seen a psychologist. I had a psychologist that I used to see for over a year, several years ago. And I love that guy. That guy was the best. But he's just no longer in my area. So it's like, I can't use him. He's out of network. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things I went ahead and myself went and saw someone. And just in that first hour, like, yeah, they don't know me. So I'm having to give them the DL. I'm giving them a little backstory, where I come from, what my origins are. Because one of the key things to seeing a psychologist and going through that type of therapy and peeling back layers, you have to be transparent
Oh yeah,
100%.
you got to give him that old Cotton Eye Joe. Where'd he come from? Where'd he go? Sort of thing, right?
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Got that Cotton Eye Joe, buddy. Hell yeah, dude. Depression sucks. Cotton Eye Joe, where you at? So, with that being said, so basically, met with this person, and they had, I gave them my little backstory. The fact that they had such a weird reaction to where I told them like my origins, right? Like, what kind of home life did I come through? What are the kind of like just highlights of my childhood, highlights of my teenage years, all the way up into adulthood, right? they had nothing to say. If anything, it wasn't even that they had nothing to say. It was more of they couldn't get around, this person couldn't get around some of the things from my childhood, like what was the normal. And like, instead of sitting there and asking the right questions, right? Like, 'cause that's their job. They're asking you a question to ask, for you to speak audibly out loud, for you to identify, right? To help you peel through certain layers of things. And this person was not doing that. This person was just like literally caught in a time loop for some reason of something I went through. They didn't even go through it, but they were like getting like being so eccentric about it, like exaggerated and like and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I at the end of the thing, I just remember looking in this stupid screen, and I was just like, why are you freaking out, man? That's literally what I said to him. Like, no joke. I was like, why are you freaking out here? I was like, I already told you from the get go. I went and saw a psychologist. I've done all this stuff. I've never talked to you before, so I'm just giving the highlights. I've already worked through all that shit. So the fact that you're freaking out right now and being stuck on that, like, that's not being productive in this conversation here.
That's
Like,
not what you're here for.
like we're here I'm just giving you backstory so you just know who I am. Like, you have a basis, you know? And I even followed up with things that how I work through those things, all this stuff, like positives. And it was the weirdest fucking session I had ever done. And I was like, yeah, dude, you suck. Never seeing you again. Because just from this first interaction, I already know where this is going. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be literally a waste of time. You are not skilled. Goodbye. Like, I didn't say that last part. I just never did another appointment with him. I was like, yeah, no, no, thank you. No, thank you. But there are simple things you can do, though. You know? Like, I think, or sorry, I was about to jump into something else. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Oh, look at them big stretches.
I'm like a dog when I stretch. Um, I mean, a few things that I like to add. I mean, I personally have dealt with depression in my life, and there are ways to get around it. You may get bogged down in your life, and for me, whenever I get really depressed, I get bogged down, and I don't want to do anything. I find myself not wanting to exercise, not wanting to eat healthy, not wanting to do the right things that obviously your body needs. And we all know, everybody in this world knows how to take care of their bodies. They don't want to. That's the difference, right? And that's where the depression comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
If you are deeply, deeply wanting to do something, you will do it. But if the enjoyment comes out of not doing something, that will lead to your depression. You should probably reconsider things and then go talk to a therapist or somebody. Although a lot of individuals don't have the power to decide for themselves, hey, I need to go see a therapist. Hey, I need to go do this. It is good to have a friend in your life or somebody, a loved one in your life to push you to want to do these things. And if you don't have that, hopefully we can be that person for you. If you are feeling sort of down on yourself and you've been playing video games every single day for hours on end and you haven't showered in 6 days and you haven't cleaned your bedroom, please reach out to a therapist or somebody in your life that you can talk to. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, for
not really
sure.
sure I'm not really sure where I was going with that, other than I have myself dealt with it, and there are ways around it. I think it's been about 2-3 times in my life I've been depressed, but I don't just go jump to pills. You have to fight through these things, right? You have to notice it or have somebody tell you that this is going on in your life. I mean, most of the times I'm able to notice it. Sometimes I'm not. And then once you have that sort of kick in the ass, you can move forward, right?
Yeah.
Don't be scared to have that intimidation. I mean, Butter said it best on South Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're sad, and that's okay. He says, I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm really happy that something could make me feel that sad. So you need to look at the thing that made you feel so depressed. Is it the fact that your mother passed away? But you need to relish in the thought that you got to experience this person, and you need to be it's okay to mourn and feel sad, but you need to move past that.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, you need to embrace that sadness, but you need to grow with the sadness and understand that you feel sad because something was able to make you feel so happy
Yeah. No, for sure.
and find more happiness. So how do you find happiness is my question to you.
I think the whole concept of like you need to do what's happy, right? Like when someone's depressed and they're working their way out of it and they're going through whatever route they ended up taking, whether or not it's a route that I think was the best route to take or not, when they get to these points where it's like, well, the narrative comes into play of like I need to do what makes me happy. That right there is a paradox. And people need to understand that. I feel like a lot of people are not informed enough. I've done a lot of research into psychology, depression, like the works. Done it for years. And and then, taking what I've learned and walking away from it and then seeing how the world operates and seeing how people interact with their issues, right? And address their issues and try to work through their issues. I'm able to see from an outside perspective, an unbiased view, and go, and I don't say it, right? Unless it's something relevant enough to where I have to say something with someone I know, right? But usually I'm able to, in my head, I'm just like, you're going to be stuck there a long time, my friend, because the route you chose is not actually the route that's going to fix it. But I don't say shit because it's not my place, right? One of the things that can be detrimental to people who believe that they are depressed, or maybe they actually are in that moment. They actually are in that little segment of their life. It can be detrimental to try to approach it and say basically what I said, right? But instead of internally, you actually say it to the person. That can work against them. That can make them think like, oh, wow, I suck at this too. I failed this. I didn't know I'm a fucking idiot. I know people who are like that. So when these situations come about, you have to really be tactful. If you know someone, right? Like if you're friends with someone, things like that, you have to be tactful of how you approach that and addressing it, because you don't want to set them back even farther, but you also don't want them to keep pursuing the route that they're doing because obviously it's not going to get them fixed. It's not going to help them in the long run. If anything, it's just going to keep them stuck in this repeating loop because they never solve the problem, you know. But with that being said, I personally don't believe going to a pill is the answer most of the time. I
Oh
think
no.
that was a thing that was pushed over the years, mainly because of money, and that's a fact. Also, if
Have you
you,
ever taken antidepressants?
yes, I have. I have.
Gotcha. I have not. I never have.
I've got to witness it firsthand, several different types. I got to experience it myself on a few different occasions for extended periods of time. And I can tell you right now that what that medication does to you, and which is something they don't talk about, it alters you heavily.
Mhm.
Heavily. So, like, for instance, if, like, I had a family member who was on it, back years and years ago, and I got to watch them go insane, like, literally fucking insane. And it was because they weren't depressed. They weren't. They
Mm.
didn't have the fundamental things that had to be in place on a neurological level for that medicine to not cause the severe side effects because it wasn't meant for them because they weren't depressed in that way. And so when they were on this thing, it was this weird downward spiral that took place. And another thing about the medications, like there's different ones, many different ones. And I can tell you that if you like, so for instance, the human brain, I'll put it to you like this way. I'll use nicotine as a example, like a comparison, a parallel, right? So the
Oh my
first
god! And
time,
then
hmm?
yeah, nicotine, and then using Chantax to get off of nicotine. Chantax it's the pill, they call it the miracle pill or whatever. But Chantax has so many side effects that makes you want to kill yourself and suicidal thoughts and nightmares and at least it is a side effect of depression. Like it just makes you have depression, like
Yeah.
severe depression.
Yep. Yep. Oh, 100%. But the example I was going to use that was like a parallel, because I'm going to do them both at the same time, is you have first time you ever use nicotine. Let's say it's smoking a cigarette or a vape pen or
A patch.
a patch or even like chewing tobacco, like using Copenhagen and things like that. The first time you put that in to get that into your system, you in your brain you have this electrical pattern that's going back and forth between the receptors as it moves. So before you're on nicotine, right? Let's say it's just a straight line back and forth, right? Goes back and forth. The moment you put nicotine in your body for the first time, that electrical pattern deviates. So now instead of it going back and forth like this, now it's doing this. And it stays doing this. The more nicotine you use, the more it will alter, but it caps out. There is a cap limit to it. So basically, you can keep using nicotine and your electrical current, let's say you've been using it for 6 months and you use nicotine really heavily for 6 months. Now, your electrical pattern, instead of it being just from your first time ever using it, and it's just like this wave pattern, now it's like a weird, like a zigzag gets thrown in there of really high and low moments.
Yeah.
It caps though. It will never deviate past that, right? Now, let's bring antidepressants into play. When you're on antidepressants, you use antidepressants. It's just like the nicotine. It alters, right? And then you do it again, it alters again. And then the longer you're on it, the more you're using it, it alters even more. The difference between the two of them are there is no cap limit to the antidepressants and what it does to your brain. There is no cap. So it can keep deviating and deviating into a very extreme, not normal current, right? And the downside of this whole thing is that when you try to get off of it, like let's say, because they say when you use antidepressants, you're only supposed to use them for so long to help you, right? And then you slowly get off of them. So like, to help basically kickstart you to get you to the right place. And then you slowly come off of them. Well, the problem is some people will be on for 6 months. Sometimes averagely it turns into a year. So you're on these things for a whole year. And depending on your dose, which more than likely they've upped your dose, things like that, after figuring out what works best for you and things like of that nature. So let's just say it's a year. You're on that for a year of using 15 milligram Lexapro or 15 milligram Wellbutrin, whatever, right? When you go get off of it, this is a fact as well. You go look up the numbers, the studies, and they've been studying this a while, like a long time, so they have good numbers. Basically, it's like over 80-something% of people who get off antidepressants in the time that they're supposed to, right? The original plan, end up going back on antidepressants within 30 to 90 days from when they came off of them.
Damn.
All because because what the pill is doing is making you just feel good. You feel happy. You do. You eventually start to feel better. And you feel better. And so you don't think about anything else. You don't pay attention to what your behavior is really like. Maybe you're a little bit of an airhead now. Maybe you're spacey, like when it comes to memory banks, like remembering things. Maybe you have these overt moments where you end up like word vomiting on people for no reason, like out of nowhere. Like I'm not talking about with malice. I'm talking about maybe a little bit oversharing, which is out of character for you. Things of that nature. As time goes on and you get off of it, your brain never learned. You never went through the numbers before you even got on medication on actually dealing with your shit and structuring your brain through habits and discipline, and changing your mindset on a natural way, or at least having these fundamental things in place before you even get on it. So now you're on it and it got you right to this moment that you didn't have to work to get to on a natural way. And then the moment you come off of it, you end up losing your fucking mind. You sink right back into depression because you don't have the tools or the skill set distilled in you mentally to know how to navigate your own issues and your own self and like your own thoughts of when you have either racing thoughts or intrusive thoughts, things like that. You don't know how to manage that. You don't know how to mitigate it. Because when you were learning about it, you were hopped up on meds that were making you feel happy all the time. So you had
Yeah,
no,
I was gonna say, like, once you get off those meds, you're going through withdrawals, and it,
Mhm.
your body is trying to wean itself off of this drug you've been giving it, and so you're gonna be really fucking depressed because your body has been giving nothing but serotonin and dopamine and happy thoughts consistently. And then the second you stop doing that, your body's like, wait a second, where did this shit go? And now you're falling into a deep depression. It's a withdrawal. You just got to fight through that. It's just like if you're trying to cut sugar out of your body, you're going to be craving sugar deeply and desperately until you get it. And it's the same exact thing. It's a drug. You probably shouldn't be taking that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I always tell, like, I have a couple friends of mine from a couple years ago, a few years ago now at this point. They were going through, one person in particular was going through a very hard time, and they were serious, like very depressed, right? It wasn't just like a sad moment. It was like they were in it a long time. And I was just like, all right, man. Like they finally like opened up to me. I talked with them about it. We had this conversation, and I was just like, man, you really want what I think you should do if you really want to fix this? I was like, you need to start weaning yourself off the antidepressants because obviously there's a lot of adverse side effects happening that they're telling you is fine, but the fact that those side effects are affecting you and your family and your close friends, like that's a very, very, very bad thing. Nothing's worth that. So I was just like,
Yes.
I just told him, I was like, listen, what I would recommend is this: change your diet.
Magic mushrooms.
I mean, no shit. Microdosing goes a long fucking way, man. I'm not kidding about
Yeah,
that.
I'm a big supporter of using psychedelics as a microdose treatment for your brain in general. It supports brain health and it just makes you happier overall. It helps you see the world in a different light, helps you focus and get things done in a safe manner. Don't
What is
overdo
that
it.
noise? Oh, dude,
It's a,
I can
it's a
literally hear it every
Theragun. I'm
time you talk.
massaging myself.
Every time you talk, I can hear it. I just hear going off. I'm like, what the
Right about
fuck
now.
is
Can you
that?
hear it right now?
Only when you talk.
How about now? Can you hear
Oh
the
yeah, I
rumbling of
can
my
still hear.
massage gun?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
We can
oh
hear
yeah.
it. Dang it.
But anyways, so I was just curious what the noise was. It wasn't like too overbearing or anything. Um, but no, I was like, I told him, I was like, let's start with the basics. One, start eating better, eat clean, eat healthier foods, so you're getting healthier nutrients to your brain, and not fucking fast food with all these like fucking bullshit chemicals and additives in it that are affecting
Yep.
you. It affects your mental health.
Yep.
And and then another thing is that you're not feeling good physically all the time, which has to do with your diet and your lifestyle. And that plays a massive fucking role into depression. A massive fucking role. And I told him because he was a little overweight at the time. Like he wasn't like super overweight, but he had a little bit of a gut going. And I told him, I was like, dude, I already know that affects you. You've openly talked about it. I was like, if you just slightly just ease into it, not like just stop what you're doing right now and start eating this extreme new super healthy diet. But over the next 30 days, if you set a goal with yourself of I'm only going to eat, my normal, like what I normally eat right now, every other day, have one meal every other day that's like this really unhealthy, whatever, that's an improvement compared to what you're doing now. Because right now you're having unhealthy meals fucking 3 times a day, 4 times a day. I was like,
And
ease
then
into it.
your body's gonna then want to have the healthier foods. It's gonna feel better. So it's just going to slowly adapt you to the better way of life. It's just like anything. You should never just rip the band-aid off of somebody who's injured or damaged. You need to
Mm-mm.
wean them off, slowly go off these things. The brain and body are a delicate manner. If you just rip the band-aid
You got to
off,
turn that
it's
massager
gonna
off, dude. Yeah, turn that shit
dang
off.
it.
It is so
I'm over
distracting.
here I'm trying to massage my body. That's how I get happy.
That's how I go. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Who doesn't love a crotch massage? Wait, what?
Massage my butthole.
Oh, whoa. Whoa. Hey, man, I'm not going to judge. Everyone's into something silly. It's cool. I'm into silly shit.
Into something silly. That's the greatest way to say sex. Something
Oh
silly.
yeah. Oh yeah. But so the diet part, it's gonna play a role, and that's what I told him. And then I told him, I was like, in that same 30 fucking days, what you need to do is start doing some light active exercising. I'm not saying go and become a gym rat. I'm not saying and go and be like, oh, I gotta go and hit the gym and do all this crazy ass weightlifting. No. What I'm telling you is start having an active lifestyle. Like do
Go
it
on a
every
walk.
other day. Every other day. Start out doing every other day, or maybe just twice a week for right now, just for the first 30 days of you getting out, doing something that's active, whether it's going for a walk. Maybe it is going to the gym if you want to do that. Or what if it's you know, uh, anything that's just some form of active lifestyle? Like it could be a hobby of any form, something that gets you outside and gets you moving, something that makes you move and you get that sunlight, the works. Get yourself out there, go do it. I was like, I guarantee you, in 30 days, I guarantee by the end of that 30 days, you're gonna have there's gonna be a difference. I guarantee you'll even notice it. I think before the 30 days even hits, I bet you're going to start to notice it on like a low level. And then by the time you're at 30 days, it will be something that you can acknowledge. It hasn't changed everything yet, right? Like where, oh, I'm not depressed anymore. No, that's not what I'm expecting it to. But it will get you into a different mindset because you're going to start to start to feel better a little bit in different areas. And the next thing you know, you're going to be in a position where you can actually, I see what you're doing there on camera. It's inappropriate. You're taking away from this heartfelt message, dude. My God. There you are. Hey, you want to put it back up to the camera so you can show the people? Yeah, there we go. Oh, whoa, dude. You're like the Flash. Now I know why you have that gun. Now I know why. Anyways,
yo,
who doesn't
back
like
off, dog.
who doesn't like turbo mode? So
Gotta go fast.
basically, yeah, so like that's what I told him, man. And he ended up doing it. I think it was a little rough start. I think he didn't start for like another month, but then he finally started to do it. And then now when I see him, like he's not some super jack guy or anything like that. He didn't go the route of like, I gotta lift weights. It's not for everybody. But just being active is important. And that's what he did. And so now, like, he is literally a completely different person. Like wildly different. Like full Uno reverse card. I think it took him I think it was like about 3 or 4 months. And after about 3 or 4 months of embracing this new lifestyle and then like building upon that lifestyle, and then on top of that, also started seeing a different psychologist. Dude, this guy is like polar opposite. Like he's a happy dude, feeling better. He worked through it. He went the hard route. And he stopped taking meds completely. He doesn't take them.
Good.
He stopped taking them in that first 30 days, which also made it even more challenging for him to be able to do it, because he was like falling into a deeper place of self-loathing, But with all that being said, simple, basic things like that will set you up to be in a position where you can identify problems, where you can put yourself into a place to go then seek the proper help because you're in a different headspace. Like you're not at the same low area. Now, I know a lot of people would argue, because I've heard all these arguments before, where they're like, well, some people are in such a bad place, they can't even get the motivation to do that alone. And then my response to them is like, you have friends, right? And they're like, yeah, I have friends. And I'm just like, do you trust your friends? And they're just like, yeah, like they'd always have my back. Like, I trust them, blah, blah, blah. Like the whole narrative, like they always have my better interests, such as like I do for them. And I'm like, okay, then why isn't your friend encouraging this new lifestyle? Or your family member? Why is no one encouraging this new lifestyle for you and being that support system? Because everything you've been telling me is that they're not supporting it, and you're alone and miserable. And it's like, okay, well, if your friends are as good as you say they are, and you trust them, it sounds like you have some pretty shitty friends. That's what it sounds to me, because you have to have a support system, and if you're in that bad of a place, and if you're in that bad of a place and your support system is non-existent, but yet you want to sit here and tell me that you have close friends and family and all this stuff that always want the best for you, but they're not even supporting this to try to get you on the bandwagon, then it sounds to me like you got some pretty shitty fucking friends and you got some pretty shitty fucking family members, or you're just fucking lying. One of the two, because you're undisciplined. Discipline is a big role in this, and I think that's one of the other issues that's going on today is that these younger generations that are out now, and even some of the older generations, there's people who never disciplined themselves ever in their life, or never went through a transition where they had to build discipline and this like center, the center to have, when it comes to life in general. So it's like building those things is very challenging. And if you've never had that before, yeah, you're going to need a fucking support system to help you get to the point where you can actually do these things. And so it's just like, yeah, I've heard it all. And then some people will say like, well, I'm too tired every day to do anything that's active. I work this job. I'm like, you're telling the wrong person this, because I'm the guy who gets up at 3:30 in the fucking morning and I don't go to bed till 10 o'clock at night. And I have 4 kids, like a wife.
So you know what I hear you know what I hear all the time is I wish I could be that person. I wish I could be the person who wakes up at 5 a.m. to exercise and have their coffee and read, or have that time for themselves that they want to do things.
Yep.
It's just nothing but excuses. I can't do that. I want to do that. Then fucking do it. It sucks at first, but then it becomes easy and normal. Like,
Oh yeah, it
waking up
totally
early?
sucks at first.
like the first 2 weeks to a month, it's going to be miserable. But then once you get past that month, it's a normal thing, and then you've become that person. And now you're the person waking up at 4 a.m. to exercise, go on a run that everybody looks up to and wants to be like. Not that that's the end goal, but if you really want to do something, you got to fucking try. You got to do it. Make an effort. I applaud anybody who makes an effort to do something. If you sit around and you're like, everything good is happening somewhere else, nothing good is happening to me. What are you doing to make yourself better? Nothing? Then I have no sympathy for you.
Oh yeah.
But if you are actively making an effort and you just keep failing and failing and failing, then I understand. Then I'm okay, and I will also offer help. But no.
Yeah,
No.
I will say this though. I've recently started a trend at my job, and I'm trying to get this trend really in full motion.
Fancy Fridays?
Fancy Fridays and nice Thursdays. Because one thing I've dealt with some people that have some low confidence and question themselves, and they obviously fight their own, well, let's just say for conversation's sake, we'll use the term demons, right? They fight their own demons, all that stuff. But I have been making it a point in myself, because this is out of character for me. I usually am not this way. I have been for the past 3 weeks. So I implemented the Fancy Fridays thing technically 2 weeks ago. And then this past week, I implemented Fancy Fridays and Nice Thursdays. So Nice Thursday is like professional dress, but like look good, feel good type thing. And then Friday is like fancy day. Like let's kill the end. Let's go into the weekend with style. Like most people want to fucking have lazy, like relaxed Fridays and already get into that like lazy mentality. It's like, no, man, you can never let that be. Go into start your weekend knowing you started in a sophisticated way, not just mentally, but also presentation wise. Look good, feel good, go out with a fucking bang. But one of the other aspects that I've decided to start doing is I've been giving people compliments. I compliment everyone. I compliment someone at least once a day now at my job. At least once a day. Which is out of normal for me. I don't do that.
Yes,
I don't like it. I don't. And it's not because what I say is not true. It's just I don't like giving compliments. I don't even like receiving them. So it's just like, ugh. I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. Anyway, I've been to therapy. Don't worry. So But yeah, so yeah, I started doing that, and I can tell you right now, just in my little bubble that I work in, there's been a huge fucking difference just in the past 3 weeks. Well, no joke, there has been a difference, and it's all because, I mean, one, there's the fancy dress up, whatever, but then two, it's because I've been pushing this positive type, um, what is it? I guess you could say lifestyle, right? I guess you could say positive mindset,
Yeah,
right?
positive mindset works.
And it's not like positive mindset of like, oh, something bad just happened. It's okay. I'm still happy. No, that's not what I mean. It's more of just enjoy the things you have. It's what you got. It's what you're equipped with. Or you know what I mean? Like, let's think about this positively. Like, let's point out the things that are pros. You know, the cons will sort themselves out eventually once your mindset's changed and you start changing your habits. But in the meantime, let's focus on the things that are positive because that is really good that you have those and that's awesome. So we should embrace them, you know? And so that's what I've been doing like the past 3 weeks. And I've already know like at the end of this week, I noticed a huge fucking difference. And yeah, like I think wherever you are, start pushing that narrative. Like focus on the things that are positive that you can keep building upon instead of always pointing out the negatives like because they're not sorted out yet. That's why time exists, yo. You know, things sort themselves out in time, but you got to do these other things first. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted to share that little tidbit before I say my closing thing. But yeah, you got anything?
No, not too much. I mean, if you notice that you are having depression or somebody else is having depression, you need to really look at yourself in the mirror and see what it is. Do you find yourself disgusting? Do you hate yourself? No, that's okay. I do too sometimes. I hate myself and I think I'm disgusting sometimes as well. But look at that part of yourself and make an effort to change it. As we said a minute ago, change your diet. Go for a walk. Get more sleep. Instead of going to bed at 2 in the morning to wake up at 7, consider going to bed at midnight or 11. Like, there are simple tasks that you can do to change your life for the better. For me, every morning I wake up, I do 50 to 60 push-ups with some sit-ups, and I have my coffee and I try to read. And oftentimes I call Ben. Him and I talk most mornings just to bullshit and get our way out of our life, you know? So if you have somebody that you can call them. Make a friend.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
a hobby.
Yeah, that's a pretty imperative stuff. And I want to end my last comments on this whole thing was one, here is a good way to start out changing your mentality when you're in a bad place if you are hearing this. One, look, take a moment, just take a whole day. Like take a day off of work or use it whenever your day off is. Take that day to intermittently set timers on your phone to where when these timers go off, they represent having to stop what you're doing, either sit down or whatever, and think, like look inwards on your own thought process. Look into like how you eat. Think about like, oh, what did I eat today? Ask yourself, what did you eat yesterday? And write down everything you ate. And do little things like that every hour on the hour or maybe 4 or 5 times that day. You know, one could be about, hey, what did I eat yesterday? Write it all down. Or the next one could be, when was the last time I actually went outside and actually like went for a walk or something that would put me out in the sun for more than 5 minutes, that would put me out there for at least 60 minutes, you know, in the direct sunlight where I got a little sweaty, things like that. Ask yourself when the last time that fucking was. And then the next one should be, hey, ask yourself, you know, when the alarm goes off, ask yourself, in the past year, when was the last time I had a friend actually look into how I'm really doing? And like I'm talking about truly how you're doing. Not the whole just the gesture virtue posturing bullshit where people have the social niceties of like, oh, how's your
Hey,
day?
how are you?
Hey, how are you? Not like that. I'm talking about actually sit down and talk with you. When was the last time that actually fucking happened and talked about how you are doing? The reason I say to do that first 24 hours is because that right there, and write the notes down, write these things down when you think of them, in these sit downs, because that right there, when you go back and look at what you wrote down, and there's no one to lie to. It's just for you. It's not for anyone else. So you have to be transparent. You're going to know if you're fucking lying because, people lie to themselves all the fucking time. So it's just like, you're going to be able to look back on that paper and reflect on it for the next like couple days or whatever. And you'll be able to see like, oh, okay, I ate frozen, croissant sausage breakfast patty from Walmart that I bought in a frozen box for breakfast. And then at lunch, I had leftover pizza from the day before. And then like so on and so forth, right?
And I had soda for dinner and a bunch of sugary things all the time.
I had a bowl of ice cream last night, at like 10 o'clock at night or some shit. That right there, you'll be able to look back on those things, and then and of course the other categories, because that right there will give you a window into seeing where some of across the fundamental baseline, right, of what bare bones basics is causing you to be in a bad place because of how you're eating, how your lifestyle is, how your interactions go with the people you revere and consider friends. That will give you a window. And from there, you can look at it and go, okay, I can see this now, but I want that to be different. How do I make that different? Okay, well, cover the things you can control first. Well, how you eat. Now, I'm not saying go get on a crazy diet. Just lighten it up. Try mixing in actual healthier foods and make actual meals where they're actually healthy. And then do at least one healthy meal a day instead of 4 unhealthy meals a day. Now you're only having 3 unhealthy meals with 1 healthy meal, and build upon that over the next few weeks to, wean out the bad meals. Then at the same time, start getting outside and getting some sun. It could be just going for a walk, or it could be going to some event that's outside, something that's getting you out and moving in the sunlight. Another key thing is also taking vitamins. And I'm being serious about that. No one takes vitamins. They say they do, but then I see what they take, and I'm like, you're not even taking the vitamins you should be taking. Like you're taking
once a day multivitamin.
Yeah, which is trash. And it's like, where's your vitamin D? Where's your vitamin C? Where's your vitamin B12? Like the list goes on. I could just keep going. Yeah, like where's your lion's mane? Things of that nature. Like you need to be taking these things on a daily because you're not getting those nutrients from the junk food you eat. It's not going to happen. It doesn't exist in it. So it's just like,
that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. So if you're here in this podcast, you're probably here because you hate your government, like we do. We do this sort of pseudo conspiracy podcast because we don't trust. We just don't trust.
yeah.
So we question everything, right? So we are smartly uneducated. We are attempting to be smart basis around the uneducated aspect of society. So the food that they give the masses is meant to keep you dumb and meant to keep you unhealthy. Because if they had a full fighting force of healthy individuals, they couldn't keep you at bay. The salt they give you is meant to dehydrate you and ruin your skin and your body from the inside out. You have to have proper salt. There's the plethora of food items that you eat on a regular basis that are literally killing you from the inside out.
Yep.
So if you don't feel like yourself, it's probably because you need to detox your insides and clean yourself out and re-eat the proper things. I know I am not the best at it. I tried my best to have my vitamins and I tried my best to eat healthy. But every now and again, I get ice cream. I get marshmallows. I get my little treats. You dig? But it's not an everyday thing. I don't eat it every single day. So just do your research, question everything, and be a little smarter every day, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I do have to go, though, Ben.
Yeah, my alarm goes off in 1 minute, 60 seconds. I'll give the rest of my closing statement before that's over. But just to finish, the last little tidbit is making these fundamental changes that will help you in a way to where you can actually set yourself up to actually be able to sort through your shit and work through your problems. If you go the route of just do a quick fix pill, and I'm not saying the pill necessarily isn't for you, but if you don't have these things built in place first, where you've weaved through some of the layers and tried to build yourself a platform prior, you're going to always revert back, or you're going to never solve the problem. I mean, tomato, tomato at that point. But with
Or
all that being-
just if you have depression, just fucking kill yourself. Just do it already. Huh? What are you waiting on? No, don't do that. That's a joke. Anyway, I do not condone suicide or any of that stocks. Speaking of, you should definitely follow us on all of our platforms. Pins your face.
Hell yeah, kill yourself, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Well, this was supposed to be uplifting and positive. Jeez, Evan. Go kill yourself, bro. Jeez. Anyways, yeah.
Do a flip at least.
do a kickflip, bro. Anyways, so we are out of time, and everything, so we have to go. But I just wanted to say that if you are struggling with this and you do want to get any more information from someone who's been there and has helped other people through it, and all are now very positive in their life mentally, please send us an email at smartlyuneducated@gmail.com. I will have that conversation with you, and we don't have to put it on a podcast. We can talk about that privately through email, and we won't even share it. It'll just be personal. If you just need a lifeline of having an influence like that in your life, reach out to us. No fucking problem.
Please. Please.
The works. So, anyways, that's all I got. You want to say bye, Evan?
Yeah, go get a lobotomy. Later, everybody.
Yeah. What he said. Get that lobotomy. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys later.